So I mean, anyone who speaks German already understands the first one. But, so we've had a lot, yeah, thank you. So we've had a lot of talks so far today about the subject of free will. Do we actually have control over decisions or don't we? As understandable, it's a very interesting topic. This one's going to be a little different. Instead of talking about things like the media or authority figures, we're actually going to be talking about the bacteria living in our guts. So yeah, that's like kind of a distressing thing to think about, that the bacteria in our guts actually control how we think. But it actually is true. So there's actually 40 trillion bacteria living in your intestines right now, which is 5,000 times more than the number of people alive today, and more than 100 times the number of stars in our galaxy. And in fact, there's more bacterial cells living in your intestines than human cells making up your body. But it turns out they're not actually dangerous. In fact, they're helpful for a lot of processes. They're useful for digesting food and in preventing certain illnesses. And if your bacteria were to be removed from your guts, you would die in less than a day without them. And researchers have known about the helpful effects that bacteria have on us for a long time. And they've used treatments like eating probiotics, which are actually live bacterial cultures, in order to treat certain illnesses and just improve overall health for decades. But recently we've discovered that they actually have much more control than simple health. So a recent discovery found that certain types of bacteria produce chemicals called neurotransmitters. And these are the chemicals that the different nerves in your nervous system use to communicate with one another. And so these neurotransmitters get taken up into your blood and sent to your brain and to your enteric nervous system, which is like a second smaller brain that you have in your intestines, just in case you didn't know you had one of those. And they influence all the kind of neurological processes going on there. And this interaction between our guts and our brain and our microbiome, which is the bacteria living in our guts, is called the brain-gut microbiome axis. And it's critical for the study of Psychoneuroimmunology, which is a 30-letter word that basically describes the process of how our gut bacteria interact with our brain and control our mental processes. So enough of the scientific jargon, let's get on to actually how they influence us. So the field of psychoneuroendocrinoimmunology has recently undergone an explosion of research. It's a very new emerging field. One study found that people with a more diverse population of bacteria living in their gut display behaviors that are more social, positive, curious, and impulsive. And they believe that this may be because certain species of the bacteria are producing chemicals that make you feel less stressed, and that would obviously lead to more of these types of behaviors and attitudes. Another one found that certain types of bacteria can reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression, and this can be induced just by eating probiotic foods, which is almost universally considered to be the least repulsive way of increasing your microbiome. And so it may not sound overly mind-blowing to think that eating certain foods can put you in a good mood, but it's actually very significant because these are clinically diagnosed conditions that are being treated just by manipulating our bacterial ecology. So it's not only a major scientific breakthrough, but it's also excellent news for the millions of people who suffer from these disorders on a daily basis. However, the most interesting finding, in my opinion so far, is our gut bacteria's relationship with autism. So for those of you who don't know, autism is a genetic disorder that mainly expresses itself in the form of reduced social skills. And in extreme cases, people with autism can be unable to speak and unable to perform basic daily tasks, and so they require a caretaker just to make it through the day. So it can be a very debilitating condition, and historically there has been no cure to autism because it's genetic. However, a recent study actually accidentally found a way to reduce autism symptoms just by manipulating our gut bacteria. So what researchers were actually trying to do was they were just trying to treat gastrointestinal problems in children with autism. And the use of fecal enemas, which is when you take the gut bacteria from one person's intestines and insert them directly into another person's intestines, is a very common tried and true method of treating gastrointestinal issues. So when they gave these fecal transplants to the autistic children, not only did it solve their gastrointestinal issues, which no one was surprised by, but they also reduced their symptoms of autism. And when they investigated further, they found that they reduced the symptoms by 25% for 8 weeks after the initial treatment. So this has been like a mind-blowing discovery. In fact, as you can see, it was just done this year, and they still don't know the exact type of bacteria that were responsible for this change or the mechanism by which they brought this change about. But it's very groundbreaking to find that they are able to deal with these previously incurable conditions just by manipulating our bacterial ecology. And it's opened the door for a lot of new studies into this kind of thing in the future. So while it might sound disturbing to know that you have trillions of tiny creatures crawling around inside of you at all times, keep in mind that these bacteria are not only beneficial to you, but they are a part of you. They control your personalities, emotions, behaviors, the way you think, and they may even hold the key to curing some of humanity's most considered debilitating conditions that we thought we had no cure to. So next time you have a gut feeling about something, you should probably listen to it, because your bacteria know what they're doing and they have your best interests in mind. Thank you very much.